just in case people are
Okay.
whining.
So we'll go ahead and start. If Sheldon shows up, he comes. So let's start the special Parks and Recreation meeting.
Go ahead.
For November 17th. Start with the pledge. This chair's a razor.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, the kid leave that the other day and says, I hope I don't make a mistake. They don't go to school anymore.
Well, you don't.
I do roll call.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Roll call. I was just waiting for it.
Commissioner Traxler,
Here.
Commissioner Day,
Here.
and Chairman Bennett.
Here. Approval of the agenda as it is.
I'll move to approve the agenda.
I don't have an agenda, just a second.
Isn't it just
Just gave you one.
Yeah, you have.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
I thought
you
there was
have
more
it
to
in-
it, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
We're all, sorry. It's okay.
Yes, I second.
Agenda approved. All in favor? Aye. Okay, so let's start with public comment. There's no public comment. Presentation announcements are
I
none.
have a question though, if I could. Dolores Lurigan. Can we comment when you get to the regular agenda on some of the topics that are there?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll open them to public comment.
Okay.
Start with discussion of basketball courts at Perry Earl Park. Who wants to?
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
So the Parks and Rec Commission, a month or two ago, we had a discussion about a basketball court being, a new one being located in a different part of the city, partly because Howard Park is functioning as a basketball / tennis court, which is a little awkward. So we talked about a couple of locations at a previous commission meeting, and it was definitely a general consensus that the Perry Earl Park is the best location. There's an empty lot next to the park that's also owned by the city, which is technically where it would be built. I've spoken to several engineers, only one of which even had enough time to put together basically a cost proposal for doing architectural and engineering design work for a basketball court at Perry Earl Park. So I have that cost estimate. What he would do for that $21,000 is do all the plans and specs and write the document to be sent out to bid to construct the actual basketball court. So he'll do all the design engineering, all the planning, write the entire Public Works contract bid, help us bid it out, then city has to award a bid, and then we hire the contractor. And so we don't know what the construction cost will be yet, but I can talk to the firm about that in terms of what we think the engineer's estimate will be to construct it. All the funding will come from either park development impact fees that the city's already collected, or we have some donations and some other money that we've budgeted. So there's enough money to do the project. At this point, well, we'll have to go to the city council, well, first to you, Parks and Rec, and then to the city council to ultimately award probably the construction bid. But that's where that's at. It is moving along. It's been a very difficult process with engineers. They're all overwhelmed with work, And
They can charge whatever they want.
they can literally charge whatever they want. All of the bids are too high, frankly, for everything. So we're trying to sort through that, and I'm gonna need to talk to him and negotiate down a little bit the price, because, you know, it's like, well, hey, wait a minute. The problem is,
Why can't we just pour some asphalt and put some hoops up? Like,
Yeah, what is exactly he drawing up, just the courts?
yeah. Yeah.
well, we know what a court looks like. I mean, I'm not being like,
No, most
It's just,
of that
just
cost
saying.
is to actually write the bid package. That's a real pain.
I
Vast
have
majority
somebody in
of it.
mind who lives in Ione, who is an engineer, who I could ask to do it. I could get back to you in the next
Have
couple
them
days.
talk to me.
Yes.
Yeah, and they have to be familiar with certain types of engineering. Obviously, it has to be a civil engineer, they have to be licensed, they have to be able to stamp it, they have to be able to write the bid package for us, because that's the pain is getting that prepared. So it's not overpriced by today's terrible market, but I'm happy to talk to someone else if there's,
well,
Yeah.
just a question is, why do we need to go that route where, like, I know when we did the Little League fields, we did the dugouts and we just got people out there to do them, and I know we are bound by certain criteria, but we got it done and without an
Well-
engineer and without bids going out, and it just seems like a more simple project than,
nothing simple in government.
I know.
Well, I also think that we should actually talk to the people that live around there first before we spend any money.
We've done all that. They're very much aware of the project.
Who is? who
We
had-
sent a
Oh, yeah.
letter and stuff out.
Yeah, we talked to all the neighbors, all of them were very comfortable with the
Who
idea.
talked to all the neighbors?
Was a year ago. It was a long time ago, before it ever even came to the commission. We can do it again if you like. I mean, they're aware of the project.
I'm just not sure that happened.
Yeah, I
because
think we did a letter and I think that was it.
But we need to make sure we talk face to face.
Yeah.
Plus,
Agree.
people that live there now probably aren't the same people that lived there when they were talked to.
We definitely need to talk face to face, yeah.
Well,
That
when-
needs to happen.
when
Before we
this
spend a dime.
commission went out to that site, we also talked about adding a restroom. So I think if we're doing a project out there, let's do it all. Let's get it all in the, the engineer, so we don't have to pay the 21,000 again. I know that the restroom at another park is causing a controversy, but, I think a restroom at Perry Earl makes a lot of sense.
Definitely have to get the okay from the citizens that live there, because
Right,
that's what happened over at the other park.
right.
Yeah, we'll get to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, this is a separate issue. I think a restroom there is completely warranted. There's
That better?
a workout group of, seniors.
You're, sorry, I can't.
The seniors are there,
Can you
there's
hear me
about
now?
30 seniors there, 2 or 3 times a week in the morning doing workouts. So, it's something that could serve, all ages.
You know, they do fit over 50.
Yeah.
I think they can still call it fit over 50, even though it's not at.
No, we have a certain name now, but it's not that.
Yeah,
We're
because,
not part of the senior center anymore.
right, because it's not a part of the, where the Methodist Church is where it should be. That's where it's really fit over 50, technically.
Right, and they have all the legal there, so we're just doing it as a group.
Yeah, as a group of
3 days a week.
fun-loving citizens.
Yes,
I know, my wife goes.
I know.
So,
So I have a question on this.
okay, yeah, I'll open it to public comment in just
Okay.
1 second. So, right now, we're looking at engineering costs of 21,000 and then a bid to bid it out. So we're now looking from a $10,000 project for concrete and basketball hoops and stuff like that to now 50
Well,
to do the courts. I know when we put out bid out courts before for like a small half court, it was like $20,000 to have somebody come and do it. And now you're looking at engineering costs of 21,000, so this small little project to put a basketball court out became a little bit more than
Well, if you do a full court of concrete and then you have to paint it and you put up the hoops and, you know, I mean,
It'd be about 20 grand
it'll be more than that.
when you add engineering.
Yeah.
And if you put a bathroom in, then you can double or triple
Double,
the price
yeah.
of the whole project.
So I think right now the basketball court is on here. The bathroom, in addition to Perry has been talked about, but that's for the whole park.
Mm-hmm.
So right now the basketball court is kind of where we're at, and I guess if the money's there and we can do it, I'd want to do it right, but I also don't think that, I think that that's crazy.
Well, I've tried to explain this to the city council as many times as I can. There is a massive shortage of labor, and everyone is charging way more than they did even a year ago.
I know.
We can't even get engineers to bid on projects at all. We got one for this so far. Maybe you have another one. It's just difficult. I'm not saying we should negotiate, because we should negotiate every single contract to a different price than what they're suggesting, and I have done that. But if you want to entertain a more of a master plan for Perry Earl Park and think about other items that should be included, now would be the right time to do that.
I agree with that portion.
Yeah.
If we're gonna have an engineer do anything, it should be
Right.
the whole
So let 'em do
concept.
everything.
Not that we'll get it all done at the same time, but it should be
Mm-hmm.
done.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to look at a restroom or some other
So that's all
structure-
part of our Nexus study that we're supposed to do, not just Howard Park, but we were supposed to do it for all of our parks. So,
Well, that, council talked about that last night and approved the development impact fee and nexus study. And the firm's was already hired a couple of years ago, so we can move on that pretty quickly.
okay.
What I can also do for whenever your next meeting is, we need to talk about the development impact fees that are available for parks and recreation. You need to understand that, because you guys get to make those recommendations to the council. So I need to bring you that entire balance of cash that's available, where it came from, what it can be used for. And then you can look at a master plan for Perry Earl Park, and then we'll talk in a little bit, we'll talk about the Howard Park master plan as well.
So on this run, the discussion of the basketball courts, I guess it would be, we're in the financing phase and trying to find what dollars we're willing to spend on it. Is that-
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe what we should do, so that you have a little bit more information, is I'll make some recommendations to you on how we could fund all of this and where that money's coming from, show you the Park Development Impact Fee Fund. But we've got to talk about everything else too. So we'll need to talk about what's happening at Howard Park, because that will need some funding as well. And then talk about any other park that you want to talk about in terms of a little bit longer range planning. Because frankly, we can spend the park development impact fees, you know, I mean, that's what they're there for. They don't have to sit there forever in cash reserve. They can be spent, but we have to make those recommendations from Parks and Rec to the city council, and then it goes into the next budget cycle. You know, it's all about the budget cycle, so, yeah.
I think for us, we were concerned about the courts. A year ago, we were having a problem with the Howard Park courts. And I think that problem's solved this year, because their basketball teams are back inside their gyms. And I also talked to someone who, I can't remember who it was, who ran that, was part of that group that was the travel team that was using, or more than using, they were I don't know what word should I use?
They were utilizing it more than anyone else.
Yeah,
It was-
they weren't allowing anyone else to use them. They had people guarding it, and if someone walked on to play tennis, they went out and played basketball. That won't happen again, because they don't like using that court over there, because they don't want to put the tape down.
Okay.
Because they were taping the court, taping everything down and
So
making
it
lines.
didn't move.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I think we're not going to have the same problem, but there's no telling what the next pandemic will do. Might have another one, and
Well,
then they'll be back
It's
out of
also,
the gyms
it's
again.
kind of an awkward setup, so we do need a different,
Yeah, we need those nets taken down.
so.
Okay.
but we need to fix both.
That's part of the Howard Park thing.
So we're still on the, okay, so we'll get some budget stuff, figure out where we are with this, and engineering firms will also find out,
Yeah, you're
get
gonna,
back to you on that.
Yes,
Good.
I will, contact him. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure he's got all the qualifications. He's an engineer for the state, and he, I talked to him before, he's done parks.
Good, that's good. Okay.
Any more? Public comment?
You want me to go to the mic?
I can hear you. but-
Okay.
but the people online might not be able to hear you.
Oh, you're seeing Pedigree.
You're gonna sleep on the couch tonight, I think.
The dog has.
Dolores Lurigan, Ione. Anyway, didn't we just build a basketball court? Wouldn't we have all the plans and everything from that one? Even if we-
Well, it's because it was utilized as a basketball court and a tennis court. It's not a court, like
You can't use the same format and put up just basketball?
it's
No.
not even the right groundwork. It's like this pad with this alternative source footing on it. It's not even the right, we didn't really build a basketball court.
We didn't build a
built tennis
basketball court, we just, whoever decided to put those hoops up just did it on their own and put them up.
No, we did it, but
I know.
it was not done correctly, and so
It was built as a tennis
It's a
court.
tennis court.
And I
Yeah.
think it was much more costly than just building a basketball court.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep, a lot more costly.
And the tennis nets are what you're talking about taking down?
No, the basketball nets.
Oh,
that's why we want to build an alternative court.
okay.
Because the city of Ione, the parents and kids, they've asked for years for basketball.
So I
And we
might,
have one.
I might ask if you do a complete thing on Perry Earl Park, if you'd consider you've put covering over the playfield in the summer. If something on that same order could be put over the tables and stuff, would be nice. They get really
Like a gazebo type structure.
Or even the additional shade sails.
And they come down in the winter, so.
Yeah, we did that project a while back, and unfortunately, the cost of shade sails and the material to do it is just
They
gone
are,
up
but-
so bad.
But
Oh,
they
what
do
about-
last.
What about an actual hardtop gazebo type structure?
That's even more expensive, I don't know.
Yeah. Whatever, just to have you consider it when you do that.
Well, they built one over at the new park, at the Depot Park, there's a,
I think they're like 35 or 40 each for each one of those. The ones over
I
at
can buy them at
the,
Costco for a lot
I
less.
know, yeah.
that's not what you can fit
Figure
out
out
there.
too.
So, okay, anything from, any calls on there, Stace?
What's that?
Anybody for public comment on
No.
it? Okay. All right, so move on to update to master plan at Howard Park.
Okay, so it appears that the city council adopted a master plan for Howard Park on February 2nd, 2010.
I say 11 years.
And it appears to be the last major update to the park. Obviously, a lot has happened since then. And later on, we'll talk about the softball fields. But it is time to do an update to the master plan. And we would have to hire somebody to do that and work with the commission and ultimately the city council on adopting an updated master plan, which should include a bunch of things. So the softball fields, if they're built, and they probably will be, we've dedicated the land already to the Amador County Girls Softball Association. I've talked to Derek actually today, so he's still moving forward. There would be 3 softball fields, a parking lot, and a brand new entrance into the park from Wildflower Subdivision, right off of Foothill Drive. Right where the new softball fields would be built, there'd be a brand new entrance into the park. So all of that really should be part of the updated master plan. And anything else, any other changes that get made to the park or any changes you would like to see in the next 10 years would be part of the master planning process. So we can talk about what's your vision for the future, and what would you like to see in that park. That would all be part of the adopted, updated master plan, and we should look at least 10 years into the future, which is always fun to do, but difficult, but still, we've got to figure out what the population of the city will be in 10 years, what the demographics will be in 10 years, what is it that you want to see in the park based on how the city's going to grow and who, what age groups do we then have. All of that can be part of the planning process. We would hire someone to facilitate that process and come to the commission meetings and walk you through what they would be able to do for the updated. It doesn't have to be a brand new master plan, it just needs to be updated.
Well, we did one when we joined ACRA, did we not? They did it as part of the county plan, and there's like, have you seen that? Have you?
When was that?
February of 2018, is what you're talking about?
Yes, it's from, we had meetings, people went all over, neighborhoods came for their neighborhood parks plus Howard Park. And so we did,
Since it's a
the city of
regional park.
Ione did not accept it as we didn't accept it because they did something with our population and stuff for funding. They just, I can't recall why we didn't accept it, and that's when we started our new Nexus study that never really got started.
Oh, okay.
That's where that all started, because
Okay.
we joined ACRA, and I have all my notes too, but there's a reason we didn't adopt it, and it had to do, I think it was with the growth of Ione and the number of parks we had. They weren't really allocating stuff to our needs, if I recall correctly. ACRA decided that Jackson and Sutter Creek and other areas needed more of the county money.
Okay,
There's some,
okay.
am I wrong?
No, you're right, because actually, according to page 13, Sutter Creek was supposed to get 3.3 million, and Plymouth 1.7, and Ione 364,000.
Yeah, there was something about it that our needs were not being met because we had Howard Park, they assumed that our needs as our population were met. And the number of parks, we have quite a few parks for the population of our city.
Yeah, a lot.
Well, actually, our population, according to what I just read, is, when we include that facility down the road, it's going to be 10,000 when they finally get the number.
Except we don't include that facility.
It's right around 10,000 right now with
With
the
6,000
2020
being the
census.
population
6,000
of being
residents.
residents. I mean,
Non-incarcerated
residents that
yeah.
can actually leave their home.
Yeah. It's about 6,000 and just under 4,000 inmates.
Which is more than,
But I did have a long talk with ACRA, and one of the things that we talked about was that this is a regional park, and Howard Park, and that the other cities in the county should be contributing to that regional impact. And they are, which is new. So the tennis court that we built, we funded it 100%. We paid, the city of Ione paid for it. We never got our reimbursement for the share that should have been paid for by all the other cities in the county. We are now seeking that reimbursement, and we'll get it. They have the money. It's over $50,000. That's coming back to us. That's the whole point of the regional park concept, and that's the whole point of ACRA sharing that
When we
money.
joined ACRA,
Right.
to get some help with that part.
Exactly. So there's that good news, and I'm watching that like a hawk, and I've already told them, look, you guys need to pay your fair share for all the activities at the park. And the new guy, they have a brand new general, whatever his title is, general manager. He's a good guy, and I've met with him several times, and I've told him.
the executive director.
Yeah. And he's a young guy, but he's sharp, and he's new, so he doesn't have any historical baggage.
Right.
And I just told him, I said, look, we should get that $50,000 back, and they're going to give it to us. So that's needs to keep happening, and that's why we joined ACRA, is to get our fair share back for all the regional impacts.
Okay, so as far as the update on the Howard, I get that you're saying we have to update our plan, but we might want to take a look at the one that was done here.
What year was that?
2018.
Oh, okay, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It was done by a
Okay.
consulting firm
A consulting firm did it
out of
for,
Fairfield.
What's the name of the firm? Is it
SCH Consulting Group.
SCA? So it's a different one than this one, okay, all right, got it. I will get a hold of that. And by then, we'll have heard back from
Make a copy,
Derek.
Chris.
Sure.
I don't watermarked copy.
So, and then after that, we started the Nexus study process and did more meetings. I feel like we're always doing a master plan, but I never see one.
It's never ending. It's like the Golden Gate
So,
Bridge.
yeah.
Okay.
So I know softball fields and the rest of it needs to be all kind of put
Okay.
together.
Yeah, this is a Nexus study, but not necessarily a master plan. I'll read it and
No,
I'll
it's
see.
a Nexus study, yeah, that's not,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, no, that's good though. Yeah, that's good.
Public comment? If you guys don't have anything, I'm sorry.
About Howard Park,
Just the update to the master plan.
was there a BMX track in the master plan?
There was one there before. It's probably part of the
It's
old
still there.
master plan.
Because I was talked to someone who wanted to see a real, jumpy.
It's
like
there,
the
it just needs to be pushed back up. We covered it when we did all the weeding and tree cutting out there.
Where is it located? In the trees?
Not now.
Next to the
it's-
skate park, right?
Yes, if you're at the skate park and you look directly east towards Wildflower.
So kind of down where it slopes down?
You'll see a bunch of rolling kind of hills there.
Okay.
That's it.
That's where it was.
But I do think it's in that master plan, but I don't know. But, so there's things that, when we get to that, that's gonna be a whole thing where you have to meet and actually,
There is a lot of comment on that right now.
yeah. On the BMX track itself,
There, yeah, I proposed.
So that's not the area that you're planning on putting softball court?
no.
it's
Softball's
gonna
gonna be
come-
behind the soccer fields. So over to the, if you're facing the soccer field snack shack, like facing the front of it, it'll be to the right of like where they put that parking lot. Not near the arena, on that side.
Yeah.
The BMX is on the other side. It's
Right.
over by,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's not in the 2010 master plan. It's just not mentioned anywhere.
The problem that we have at Howard Park is ingress and egress. I mean, when soccer was nuts this year,
Yeah, and parking.
parking was absolutely nuts over there. People want to park right next to the little fields where their kids are, and
Don't walk.
they don't want to walk. And nobody was parking up in the upper lot by Howard Park, by Evelyn Bishop Hall. We need to talk about that again, because all those horse trailers that are in over by the arena, we just can't have people going through there. I mean, that's just got to stop.
Well, you gotta go through there a little bit because that's where soccer built their parking lot. That's soccer's parking lot, that's how you get there.
Actually, soccer's parking lot is, they park everywhere.
Well, I know, but they actually built that parking lot over there on the right-hand side, and that's where their, like, handicap
Yeah,
parking
but
is
that's going to
and
be the
everything.
softball fields.
No. It'll be on the other side of the parking spaces. That won't be, no. That parking lot will stay there.
There is parking planned in the middle of the arena, right?
No, we're just talking with the commission right now. So the parking, the softball fields will have a brand-new parking lot as well, and a brand-new entrance to the park.
That'll be on the other side.
Oh, so it'll be on the Wildflower side where the
Yes.
parking lot is?
Yes.
So we're going to take, those trees will come out on
Yes,
the
we're going to
Wildflower
have to take a
side.
lot of trees out to build the parking
Okay.
lot. Yeah.
Will that entrance, allow access to the rest of Howard Park, not just the softball area? Will it connect?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it has to connect all the way through, yeah.
There's already a way to get into the soccer fields from Wildflower. That's pretty easy.
It's just not supposed to.
They've already built a road going across there.
Yeah, the Caltrans road that they don't want us to use
Yeah.
road.
That's that
I just drove my Jeep over and drove into Wildflower the other day when I was parked over by the soccer fields.
Mhm.
Pretty easy.
No, it's easy. You're just not supposed to use it. That's all.
Well, it looks to me like trucks are using it like crazy.
Yeah, for building. It's just not supposed to. It's not an ingress in there yet.
Well, the
Yeah.
fence is all torn down.
Right.
No, but the point of the brand-new entrance is that it goes directly into Wildflower, and it connects, and I've forgotten the name of that street, but if you,
Brickyard.
no, the street that goes straight
Right away?
across. It's a little tiny, it's a,
Foothill, isn't it?
no, it's a collector street that goes across Foothill that's where the new entrance would be to the park. But what's that little side street called?
I don't think any of us know the names of the streets.
Yeah, well, it's
I
the,
do, because I do.
it crosses Foothill, so it would cross Foothill and go directly into the park. So that would be a brand-new entrance. And the beauty of that entrance is anybody who lives in Wildflower, that would be the most logical way to go into the park. Otherwise, you've got to drive all the way back around, and there'd be no reason to do that. So we could divide the traffic between the new entrance and the
Sage.
people that...
Sage.
Yes, Sage is the little side street. So that, if you look at Sage, it'll come straight across and
I see
into the
that.
park. And so all of the people who live in Wildflower would most likely come in that way, which would relieve a lot of the traffic that's coming from the state highway through the main entrance, which is how you get in now, or the illegal entrance, so-called illegal entrance at Caltrans. So really, we would have 3 ways in and out, which we should have. It's over 100 acres.
Well, Foothill will open eventually, so they'll come in that way too and park along. They'll come in and
We
in.
just need the land in a BIM model,
Oh,
and we can just
104.
place everything so we
Yeah.
can kind of see it.
As soon as they
Yeah.
open 104 and Foothill,
Right.
yeah, they'll
Yes.
they'll come that way too.
Yeah. So that's the point of an updated master plan, is to show you not just the facilities and amenities in the park, but the traffic plan, the traffic flow,
Very
the
good.
entrances, the ingress and egress, and if you're really a traffic engineer, I can get into some really technical terms with you, but we need to look at all of that before the softball fields are actually constructed. We need to have, if we time this right, we would have the master plan updated and adopted, and then construction would start.
So are you gonna do a side committee to help with that, or are you just
We
doing
could.
it and presenting it? Like, I mean, just, that's my, I don't know how you wanna do that, or how,
Well, that's a good question. I mean,
The master plan side committee?
yeah. Like, most of the time when we do things like this, you have a committee that tries to work on certain areas so that when we come to a meeting, we can present it, and it's not always in the meeting, and it's not one person doing it.
right.
Just, if we're gonna do a master plan update, it should have a few different people advising, I think.
Sure.
Well, I think too, if you're gonna start tearing down trees, you should get a hold of wood angels and let them know that there's gonna be wood available.
Oh, yeah, we'll definitely do that.
Because they'll come and get it.
Yeah, we hope so. We want to try to sell it since, city is not a charity. We're supposedly a not-for-profit enterprise, but we're not a charity.
We do well at that, nonprofit.
We do very well at that.
So, let's talk about maybe doing a committee so we can get that done a little bit quicker.
Sure.
So that we
Okay.
have, like, input from different groups that all work out there at Howard Park.
Okay, and I think that also Allison should be involved with that too, because she's always got problem with traffic flow.
Understood, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No.
I understand.
So we want, somebody to represent baseball, somebody to represent softball.
Well, I don't know if we
Soccer.
necessarily need that. I think you can bring them in at some point, but I think you do need, someone from the city, someone from, like, planning, like someone, people to advise. Because it's not just softball or baseball.
We need at least one of you, one
Yeah.
of the commissioners, and then, the stakeholders, probably soccer and Little League at some point, to
Yeah.
bring them in on traffic
Yeah.
and,
And then-
site planning.
But then if it's a master plan update, you need, like, what else is gonna be in there, like,
Mhm.
and how is it gonna affect what's already there, and kind of do the whole plan all together.
I mean, part of what we want to understand, and actually the council, at their next city council meeting is going to set the date for the town hall meeting, which will be a meeting, a generalized meeting for the whole community to talk about their top priorities, including what would you like to see in Howard Park? What's the next 10 years? What are the top demands, priorities? We're a public agency. Our job is to provide the most public benefit to the most people. That's what we're supposed to do. So if the vast majority of our residents say, we would like X, then that's what we need to focus on. That's ultimately up to the city council. They ultimately have to decide that. The Parks and Rec Commission can make very strong recommendations. Here's what we learned from community input, from our little committee. stakeholders, and then from the town hall meeting, these are the top priorities of our residents, and here's what they said about Howard Park. And this is what they'd like to see in the next 10 years. These are the kinds of amenities they would like. And if we can get that sort of consensus on that from the vast majority of the community, then if the council approves it, we can actually start to put together the funding sources for that and really get serious about doing it.
Mhm.
Sounds like a plan. I want to see it happen
Yeah, it's a good start.
quickly.
Public comment? Nothing?
No one on Zoom.
Okay, so maybe work on a committee and then get started.
Okay.
You said you have someone that is going to do the work, the same company that started prior to?
I'd have to talk to them. I'd have to think about how the process needs to go. We probably have to do an informal bid process for professional services. A different firm did the 2010 master plan, then did this updated park impact fee study. They were two different firms. We also have another firm right now that's DTA, and they're actually going to update this document that you gave me. They're going to do a development impact fee nexus study, including the parks, but they're doing all of the development impact fees and wastewater and a bunch of other stuff.
So what about the firm that started after the 2018 ACRA one, 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Is that one of those two firms, or is it a different?
No, and it's a third different firm. It's just
Yeah,
like,
that's
yeah,
what
let
I'm
me think
asking.
about how we can best do that. But yeah,
Okay.
we'll get it started.
Okay. Moving on to update on Train Depot Park.
So the Train Depot Park, where we're at is that the public restroom project was stopped in May when I arrived. And then it went to the Planning Commission for approval after it was stopped in order to do it correctly and get the public hearing noticed, and the public commented. The commission took an action to approve the restroom. Then it went to the city council, and the council asked staff to come up with a couple of different options before they made a final decision on exactly where the restroom should be located and which way it should face and what the landscaping and the screening and all that would look like. So that's what we're working on right now, and we will have several options for the council to consider very soon on the restroom part. The other part of the park project was still moving along when I arrived in May, and then I had to stop the entire project because of some, there was threatened litigation by the Contractors Association of California, and they pointed out that we purchased some very large items, equipment, playground equipment, and other very large materials and supplies without any bidding process at all. And they were correct about that. It's complicated because you are allowed to have volunteer labor to do certain aspects of a project, even a project that large. But what you cannot do is sole source expenditures for materials and supplies or equipment that's over $25,000. And that's what we did. So we had to stop the project. What we're doing right now is we've got our engineer figuring out what still needs to be finished to complete the original California State Parks grant, which was $150,000 that they gave us. We pledged a matching fund of an excess of another $50,000 to $100,000 depending on the actual costs. So where we're at is, I think that in January we'll be ready to go back to the city council to release an RFP to request bids to finish all of the rest of the pieces of the park that still need to be done. The restroom still needs to be completed, assuming the council approves the restroom. And then there's some concrete work that still needs to be done. The pavilion is sort of being done now. There's some landscaping that still needs to be done, some irrigation, and a couple of other things. And that RFP should go out in January. So that's where we are. The train depot building itself is a whole separate
Yeah.
animal. And unfortunately, the city doesn't have enough funding to do anything of material substance with it other than to try to secure the roof, which I'm going to do next week as an emergency project, so that these panels don't go flying off and landing in Lydia's front yard. So that's underway. But at some point, I think the city council will want to talk about the train depot building itself, but we need to get the park project done first and figure out what the bathroom situation will be. I've got to talk to the state Parks and Rec department. They did email me yesterday wondering how we're doing on the park project. So it's supposed to be completed by December 31st of this year. It clearly will not be, so I've got to beg for an extension on the grant. We have enough money in the park development impact fees to have the matching funds that will be required to finish this. So that's good, that's okay. The council actually had already approved that funding several years ago. So the funding is okay, but in order to stave off pending litigation, I did have to stop it. We will go out to bid in January, and then we will finish the project.
How did they even know what we were doing?
Well,
I
don't know the answer to that.
feel like we would be off the radar.
So you're saying that we have to wait until January to then bid on playground equipment that we already bought?
No, some of the stuff has not been
It's for the
purchased.
rest of the project.
It's just for what's not completed.
So why couldn't the playground open sooner?
Because there's no walkways, there's no landscaping, there's still, the pavilion's still under construction. So, and the bathroom is still theoretically under construction. So we didn't want people walking around yet.
Okay, but looking down the road, we could maybe separate the restroom and fence it off until that's dealt with and open the rest of the park. Do you think that would be possible?
I'd have to really think about that. All I think about all day long is liability and deep pockets and how much people love their government to the point where they would never ever sue their government. That's what I think about, unfortunately. And so these become very difficult questions because we can't have any liability risk and we can't be negligent of something. So we'd have to figure out a way to make it safe. If we did that, and I'm open-minded, obviously, to that, but I would prefer that it all get completed at once so that the restroom issue would be resolved and constructed and everything would open all at once. That's the goal. I mean, we're still trying to do that.
And so what's your extension going to be looking like for the grant to, right?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna have to, I'm playing phone tag with the state, but I need to have a long conversation with them so they understand what happened and how it happened and beg for forgiveness. We need another year just to be safe.
And they may or may not care.
Well,
And what's the true liability there for us as far as returning grant funds? If we don't have something done by a certain time, what
we would forfeit the entire grant,
and just what's
Yeah.
done,
yeah. We would forfeit, well, I'd have to look at that. We would maybe not forfeit the whole grant, we would forfeit portions that aren't completed yet.
at that time.
Yeah, that's what I'd have to talk to them about. That's a delicate negotiation that will have to take place. Yeah.
Okay. Anything further from council?
Nope.
Public comments?
Jay Kerfel, head of the volunteers that started this mess. And then we got shut down, and now I'm the successful bidder to finish the shade structure or the building. We did start that, the sheeting is on it. The material that I had bid to put on it for tar paper, seal, or whatever you want to call it, looking more into what the manufacturer told me, it does not qualify for underneath a metal roof. So I hope to have the new material and put the paper on it, be weather tight. It's a stick down process, it's not just tar paper.
Yeah.
So that'll be put on Monday. Then we're into the same old game again, waiting for metal roofing. We should have a metal roof on that completed by the first of the year, weather permitting. And we're going into a long stretch of some dry weather and stuff, so that's in favor of the building. When I started this project, I was told we had 2 years to have a usable product. It didn't have to be completed, because we knew all along there wasn't enough money for the pavement and things like that. So that kind of fits in your question, what is considered usable? And that's up to the boss there to talk to the people and stuff. So the playground, the play area where the slides and stuff are, does not have bark or anything in it yet. And there is one space that was left open so we could drive in and out of there with a tractor to put the bark down. That would not take much to put that in. The biggest thing that I think holds the whole project up, and hopefully when it goes out to bid, it'll be the first thing that someone will get done, is there's a major drain system that goes into that property. It's not just a little hole in the ground, it's a major thing. And that's going to be one of the biggest expenses, other than the bathroom itself.
Is that part considered a flood zone?
Yes.
That's what I thought.
And that's why the building was raised so much. And anyways, that's all these things coming in together. There's a lot of fill dirt bringing in to get the grade up to what was proposed to start with. But that's, I think, going to be, that's all costs money, as we know. But there's some people that are still willing to donate truck hours if we pay their expenses for fuel and stuff. So we're still having a little bit of volunteer element in this project. And I'm not sure if I'll bid on it or not, but anyway, my goal right now is to get that shade structure finished. And because there's a lot of mothers and stuff come by and they're asking, oh, when can we hear that? When can we play? It's been here a long time. They're the same ones that make me remarks about, that you said earlier, needing a bathroom up here, that you're going to put a tennis court where the bushes they're using now. So it all ties together. But we're going forward, trying to get something there. It's going to be, we hope, a big plus for the city. And we saw the train depot itself as a tremendous plus. Most people don't realize the history and stuff behind that building. It is too bad that the train people made us move it because it lost a little of its historical stuff in there. But it's still, if you look at it, it's been a key player in Amador County's development way back and when. And to make it into a museum / whatever you want to call it is a big goal. And there's still a lot of public people countywide that want to see that happen. Unfortunately, they've been discouraged a little by the process that's gone on for 12 years, 15 years, or whatever. But it's going forward. If you have a question, I'm going to sit down.
No, it looks great there. Yeah, I've been watching the progress of the pavilion and stuff. It looks good over there. Anything on Zoom, Stace?
Nope.
Any more public comment? Okay. Moving on, update on softball fields. We touched a little bit on that already.
Yeah, so the council approved the dedication of the property for the 3 softball fields and the parking lot through a letter that we sent to the Amador County Girls Softball Association. Derek was involved with that. Derek, what's his last name?
Baker, is it Baker? Baker?
Yes, Derek Baker. So
Oh,
Derek is the person that, so my brain's overloaded, but Derek is seeking donations to build the fields and the parking lot. So he sent me a note today saying that he's waiting for his nonprofit tax ID to form the nonprofit organization that would be doing the fundraising because it's easier to fundraise through a nonprofit than for the government to ask for money, and that's a long story which I'll share with you any point that you'd like to talk about people's desires to donate to local government. So
has he
this
already
is,
ordered it and said he's getting?
he's getting it very soon.
Okay, because those aren't easy to always get.
No, he's frustrated, it's taking longer than he had hoped, but as soon as he gets the tax ID, he'll give it a name, and then he'll start the fundraising efforts.
Well,
So,
if he doesn't get it, he should just maybe think of using ACF, which is what I do for most of my charitable.
sounds like you should talk to him.
Yeah, I have talked to him, but we never discussed that portion of it.
Okay.
I didn't know if he was
Yeah.
looking for a nonprofit. We usually go through Amateur Community Foundation.
Yeah, yeah.
They take a small percentage, but they do all the billing
Okay.
and stuff.
Maybe that's another option.
If he doesn't get it, I mean, if he's
Okay.
already, there's just a lot of paperwork and accounting to do for the nonprofit, and if you're not willing to do that, ACF is a good alternative.
He's also stated that
I'm not willing to do that.
Supervisor Richard Forster is very, very interested in this project, which hopefully translates to the county of Amador would be willing to kick in a substantial amount of money. We'll see about that. That would be great. And he's getting some pricing together for grading of the property, irrigation and fencing and infill dirt. I will talk to him about that. It's the city's property. We can certainly work with him to figure out what those costs will be and how they will be. We don't want to have the same result as the train depot park. We want to make sure
Well, or the $1 million bathroom. I mean, we've done things like this before.
you're not the only city. I did
No, a lot of cities do it.
$400,000 restroom in Santa Paula and people's heads almost came off.
Yeah.
So I get it. And that's not what government should be about, but the public contract code is a real pain, and it has to be followed, and prevailing wage has to be paid if you get into public contracting. The way around public contracting is if it's a volunteer effort, which it can be if it's a small project, but when the project gets too big, that's very difficult to do, and there has to be a strong project manager overseeing the volunteers in order for it to be successful. Nobody from the city was really overseeing the train depot park. That's on the city, that's on the staff. Nobody oversaw that project until I got here. And then I started sticking my nose in it, and well, you know what happened. So you can have volunteers do projects, but if the project, and this is going to be a big project, we're talking about 3 softball fields, a parking lot, a brand new entrance, a circulation pattern that has to be figured out for the rest of the park in terms of traffic circulation and even walking circulation. So it's such a big project that I need to have a long chat with Derek about how much can the volunteers do.
Well, yeah. What if you split it into different sections where?
That would be a splitting of a contract, which is illegal under the public contracts code. So that's what I mean, these things are a pain.
But what
It's called contract splitting, and you can't really do that.
What portions of the softball field could we work into the updated plan?
Well, it'll have to be all
The
of it.
insurance, you know, like,
It'll
what
have to
I'm
be.
saying is, does the softball project have to be funded solely by the softball organization?
No.
No, it wouldn't. I mean, if the city owns the property, and the city will continue to own the property even if this nonprofit builds the fields and fundraises all of the money, the softball association would still probably lease or pay a fee to the city to use the city's property.
Like soccer and baseball.
Like soccer and baseball, right, and the arena. So that's probably how it would be set up, even if they did all the fundraising. But it would be an agreement where the city would essentially give them back in-kind services for the fact that they fundraised to build the facility. So, you know, there would be some fairness there in terms of how much we actually charge them to use it.
Right, but like the entrance, could we work that into the master plan and have it funded by city funds as opposed to them having to fundraise?
No, they're not gonna
a
pay
new
for the entrance. The developer's gonna pay for that. Axios Homes will pay for the
Well
brand
thought.
new entrance to the park. I've already talked to
Well, that's
Thomas
good.
about that. They should pay for that.
Right.
Yeah, and they will. They have no problem with that. Yeah. So yeah, certain parts of it will not be paid for by the Amador Girls Softball Association.
I'm just thinking of what other portions we could work into the master plan,
Mhm.
because there's money there.
Oh, yeah, we should, all of it, we
All
should
of it
put
should
it
be
all in
in
the
there.
plan.
That's what I'm saying, like, it should
Yeah.
all be in there, so if they even did fundraise most of it and then they ran out of funds for some of it, you can utilize other funding if it's in the master plan, but again, we've been told that it's not.
Oh, and the last thing that Derek said, which is what I was hoping would be the case, is that Accra, because it's a regional park and there'll be a major regional benefit by having softball fields, there will be money available, reimbursable back to the city for the construction of the fields from Accra and the money they collect.
And maintenance. Maintenance at Howard Park, Accra, without a charge.
Well, we need to talk about
Yeah,
the whole maintenance situation.
that should be part of a discussion at some point.
In fact, I think for this commission, I would like to have an agenda item where we talk about, what's it called? A caretaker for the park. We used to have one. It's a really large facility. I've never seen a park this big without a caretaker. We're talking 100 acres here. And it's something that at least we should explore that option.
Yeah, we've talked about it before.
Yeah.
Is there any more on the update on the softball fields?
Yeah.
Anything from commission? Public comments?
It's more Jay Kerfel again, more question than a comment. The bathroom facilities, they're at the Little League field now, was built by the Ione Rotary Club. And it was around $60,000. It took the club 3 years to raise the money to do it. Because we are a little club and, you want to make so much money at a steak dinner.
Right.
But are you saying that because it's $60,000, it's probably above the budget, that we couldn't have an organization, not necessarily the Rotary, but someone take on, say, I want to do the whole project? And you said it has to be under $25,000?
Well, did you guys build the bathrooms yourself, or did you get?
We did all
Yeah,
that.
so that's what I was just saying about our Little League, when we
Yes,
did
that's what I
the
understood
T-ball
you saying,
field and
yes.
stuff, we just did
Yeah.
it.
So, and, there's still little things going on at that park being done to improve it as volunteer basis, but, like I said, the Rotary Club took on that one, worked with the city, tied in the water line, tied in the sewer line and everything they had there, and we had a crew out there pour the slab. We did pay a mason to lay the blocks, and we put the roof on it.
But you didn't put any bids or anything out, you just hired
The
them as
club did it.
Rotary.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm just asking, is that
Okay.
still available for this type of bigger project? You're talking millions of dollars for this project, just in the roads and everything you're putting in. Would a little club be able to take on and do something that, or with the standards of today, say a small organization can't go in there and say, hey, we're gonna do it, but give us a couple of years to raise the money?
Let's talk about that offline. I have some ideas. I need to talk to you because it depends upon if it's a separate project that's not directly related to softball. Yeah, then you could do a separate project, and it could be a volunteer project, and it could be done a different way.
Okay.
It just depends on.
There's roundabout ways we can do this.
Yeah, and it's complicated, and I need to go back and read the public contract. It's all that. I'm happy to talk to you about it, but it
Well, it's
just
not
it
necessarily
depends.
me, for the whole project.
Well, because we have Rotary,
Yeah.
we have Rotary, IBCA, they do
Right,
all
yes.
sorts of projects in our
Someone
county.
might want to put in a lighting project,
Yeah.
or at least one of the diamonds, or
Yeah.
something, but I just didn't know where this line is now, that limits volunteerism to being into the bracket where you have to have all the bids and everything. That's what I was asking about.
Yeah, it also depends who's in charge of the construction part of the project. If the nonprofit is going to manage the whole thing and build it and fund it, then it's not a public project necessarily, because
Yeah,
it
the
wouldn't be
city's
done
not
by
in
the
charge of
city.
it.
So, but again, you have to be really careful about that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. So, let me think about it, and let's talk about it some more.
Okay.
Offline, though.
Same with the basketball court.
Any more comments on the softball field?
Nothing on Zoom.
All right, let's go on to track maintenance.
I was assuming that you wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't really want.
No, nobody wants to talk about it because nobody wants to talk about putting anything down on the track. But it's a big problem, and it's not only an issue for, I mean, people playing on those fields, the dust is coming up at them, it's horrible, but beyond that, I was told there was mining from Wildflower, from the desk project over there, that you could see, and the air quality control people are out there, and they could do the same at Howard Park on any given Saturday, like just the amount of cars going in and out of there without any kind of product on the track. Or you just don't drive on it. Those are really the only two options. And so there's things that you can put on the track that can then be removed if we ever restore it to any other type of facility. Yeah, but right now it's mainly used for entrance into the park.
I don't understand, is there some sort of legal reason we have to
No, it's a
even?
community reason.
Well, that community was how many years ago?
Well, the community right here. Yeah, a lot of people don't want the track touched at all, and if it was utilized mainly for horses right now, that would be one thing, but I think that's not the case at the
No,
moment.
it's not the case.
It's driven on, and it's actually ruining the track, because you see the cars are ruining it in general.
Yeah, there's a mud hole right there.
So anyway, we have discussed putting some kind of road base or something down on the track that is removable at any point. Because even now, the old track, I don't know if you guys, there's wood underneath some of that area. Some of that's poking up as well, and it's not even good for horses. Like, there's some areas that aren't even good in that regard. I walk the track a lot. I see a lot of the stuff going on. I know some horses do walk on the track still. I love to see them out there. But as far as the main use of the track, I think there's some areas that, like we did in the middle portion, have you guys been out there where you see between baseball and soccer, they've laid a little bit of road base down? And it really has helped with the dust factor on that side. And if you could do that in other areas, it would maintain the same. And again, the cost of it's high, and so it would be little by little, like the main areas first, just to reduce. But even by the arena, the ruts that are coming in around those corners, because there's just no, what's the word for it?
Maintenance.
And beyond maintenance, well, and to do a racetrack, that's a huge maintenance that no city can afford right now. But like, when it wears away, what's the word I'm looking for? Erosion control.
Oh, okay, all right.
So
We're
when
running out
you
of
get
gas
your,
here, I think.
no, but when you get your storms and the kids, the cars going in there with the mud and everything, it's eroding the edges of the track, and it's eroding,
Yeah.
like, even the form of it.
Yeah.
And we did cut down a lot of trees because they were dead and there were issues with them. But even now, the edges of the track, you're getting a lot of that erosion coming down, like on the back of it especially. It's just becoming popped. It's
Yeah. So a couple things for the record. The road base is being donated. We're not paying for any of it.
okay.
Okay, and there's several different, very generous contractors that are donating that, and that's why it's taking so long to get it, because we're not paying for it, and they're just giving us leftovers when they have it. The second thing is, the Air Board has threatened to fine the city numerous times for air quality violations, so that's threatened litigation, so that had to be taken seriously. Third, the road base is actually better for the horses than what's there now. Much better for the horses.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, and they can walk on it. The
Like I
horses
said,
can
it's
walk on
eroding.
it.
It's eroding. Some of it's hard packed, but
Yeah, we need
a
flood
lot of that's
control and
just-
drainage control as well.
yeah.
I would think you need to keep the soccer field, keep the cars off of it. If that's the case, just,
Well, regardless of just soccer, people
well, everything
drive
else.
around it. Yeah. It's used as a road.
They also park, they park on that road that runs through, they park on the upslopes. They're gonna ruin that whole area.
Where is the road base proposed to be put down, around the entire thing, or?
Yes, eventually, yeah.
I noticed that, I think unintentionally, part of the track is paved now. I think they dumped excess asphalt and cars drove over it, it's paved.
Where?
Beyond the new parking area, so between Wildflower and the furthest soccer fields,
Oh,
there's a small.
Oh, I know what
striped
happened there,
track
yeah, she's right.
that-
So what happened was is, and
It's paved.
what happened was they just dumped it but didn't compact it. And so they came and compacted it later, and by the time they did, some cars had already driven over it and sort of compacted it for us. That won't happen again. We'll make sure that when they dump it, it's compacted immediately.
and so they drove over it onto the track?
Some people did. Yeah.
I have not been over to that side recently.
Yeah, it's way on the backside, but yeah, that's what happened. And that shouldn't happen
It's on
again.
the Wildflower side.
But
Yeah.
honestly, why not? Why wouldn't we take the free leftover material to improve the track? It seems like it's an improvement,
It is. It's actually better for the horses.
so why wouldn't we let them dump it there and smooth it out for us?
A lot of it's because it's not removable as much as like the road
But
base. I
I
understand.
don't know, I might make people angry, but why do we need it to be removable? I think 98% of the population that is using that track uses it for driving and parking and walking.
Well, there's something else
People
that
walk the track.
just
Or bike
happened
riding,
that
yeah.
is going to have a very major impact on our horse arena, and that is the fact that Plymouth, a private company, is building a brand-new state-of-the-art horse arena in Plymouth, and that's under construction right now.
Is
So,
it a covered arena like?
yes.
Yeah.
So that's just information, but that's not going to make it very easy for any of the other arenas to compete. Everybody's competing against each other.
We'll have to get one of those committees, no arena in Plymouth, like the,
Good luck with that.
yeah. Well, the other one didn't work well either.
This will be brand new though, so it's a tough thing.
Well, there's already an arena on a private property up there. Garfinkel's have a huge one.
This is another one.
Where's it gonna be?
You know what?
That's after. That's
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
You're
It's not on your agenda, on my agenda.
I can tell you later. I
Later,
forgot, right?
off the line.
Yeah.
Okay, so track maintenance is this definitely necessary, litigation, other things going on with that.
So do we need to talk to these people that have the rock or where the covering is and get them motivated? If so, I'd be glad to do that, because I probably know who it is.
So Todd's heading that whole thing up, so if you know of any companies that have excess, because a lot of these companies, they haul it back somewhere, and it costs them a lot of money to do that. So if they know that somebody like us needs it, it's actually a lot cheaper for them to dump it locally if they're already working in this area. So it's a coordination thing, communication thing. So if you know of anybody, please talk to Todd and let him know. We'll figure it out.
We have enough of those trucks running through town now, it's crazy.
That's a whole,
Yeah, that's
whole another
another
agenda
subject
topic.
for another
but
day.
Right. Road is needed. Anything more from before I open to public comment?
On track.
I have something, but am I allowed to bring something up that's not on the agenda?
No.
I think
not
it's a
yet.
small.
You can under the next item, but we're still on the track maintenance
Let's end the
item.
I'm sure it works. Yeah.
Public comment on the track maintenance item.
Yeah. Public comment? I knew we had at least a couple. As we should.
Laura Slarigan, Ione. The track is probably one of the most historic things in town. It was built in 1877, and it was very used up until a few years ago. In fact, at the time that they took down our old arena, Ed Hughes Arena, in the middle of the track where the baseball fields are now, and they built the new arena, they said it wouldn't change, that we would still have the same access to the new arena as we did the old arena. But of course we don't, because now you have to pay to get into it, and we never did. it's just a historic part of it. And yes, they're using it as a road, but that's not what it is. And do we have a right to take that away from the historic part of it? It's just, you know, we
I
fought.
understand, yeah.
When wildfire came in, we fought that they wanted to put a road through the picnic grounds, the Howard Park, and we fought that and didn't let them do that. And now they're just little by little taking it over the way it is. But there's always been erosion. There's always been erosion, especially in the back.
Yeah.
Every year before homecoming, the Bonham brothers would rework the arena and get it ready for us to put on our shows and stuff, our races. But it was the very first over a mile racetrack on the West Coast. And the first arena this side of the Mississippi River. At one time, Ione Arena, or racetrack, and Santa Anita were the only two racetracks in California. But it's very historic to some of us. And it's hurt to see them let them even drive on it. I mean, if we're gonna do parking lots, make them use the parking lots. But I don't know, it's just a real hard thing to let go of for the people that have been here forever.
With the extension of sage coming out of Wildflower, that would cross the track, correct?
Right.
It goes onto the track.
Goes onto
And-
the track.
Right. And it also is probably from the horse arena side. They drive through there. I don't know if they still can or not, but
Yeah, they can.
anyway.
Yeah, they
And
can.
even apart, but, you know, to completely do the whole thing and say, oh, piss on it, that, who cares?
Well, I don't believe we're saying that at all. I think that if you have something that is technically removable, you still have your historic track there, and when we have, I mean, there's nobody working the track right now, ever. And have you been, I don't know if you've been out there lately, it's bad.
I haven't been out there
Like
lately. I
even-
usually go,
And cars don't go on the part that's actually the worst part. The whole back part's coming down,
the
like,
back part's always been.
yeah,
worse.
and it's coming down, so I'm just looking for a way to keep kind of the integrity of the track before it actually.
But what's out there on it right now is not a removable product, right?
No, I'm saying what we would put down. There is no product out there. We tried an oil, what did we try? An oil stuff one year that was like for mining. I think it was supposed to last for like 3 years and it lasted like 2 months, not even.
So there hasn't been
We-
old asphalt brought out and put on it?
No, they were just saying there was an accidental on tires, it came on there, but no, nothing's been put out there.
Well, it's not asphalt.
Or
It's
they're not
just,
paving it.
It's just old grindings. It's just,
But it's on the track.
compacted gravel is what it is.
Well, and that's what road base, it's
It can be
compacted
removed.
gravel that can be removed.
It can be removed
It's just
pretty
on
easily.
top of the track.
Yeah.
You know, the problem
I
is,
know what gravel is.
is that the dust is horrendous.
It is bad.
Absolutely.
So, don't let them go on it.
That's what I keep saying. If you
That's
want to preserve the
part-
track, preserve the track. If you don't want to preserve the track, let them drive on it.
Right.
Well, you could never have soccer then, because there'd be no way
Yes,
to
you
get
can.
around
People
the
can
park.
actually park in next to Evelyn Bishop Hall and use their 2 feet and walk.
Well, but you'd still have more traffic problems if you didn't open up the
Any of
rest
the
of it
other
for
areas.
circulation. You'd have a lot of congestion then. I understand what you're saying, but it still creates a traffic flow problem.
Well, and so that's where you go, okay, well, what's the utilization currently for the area and how do we mitigate any damage? How do we work all together to get it correctly done? You know, and there's never been an easy answer with the track and then everything that's been built inside of it.
Right.
Since I've been on parks, it's always been an issue. We've tried different things that have been costly that didn't work.
And
The
there's
mine-
there's all kinds of stuff sticking out of it, like,
But that's what I'm saying, right now, it's
Pipes and all
actually
kinds
more
of
of
crazy
a
stuff.
danger than anything, because
That's not good
it's
at all.
not been maintained, and like you said, there's always been erosion, but when people used it as a track, people took care of it, and nobody's doing that right now, and I don't know if anyone knows how to do that on our park stuff, like how to take care of a track. So, we're just looking for an alternative for now, for the utilization that's being used that could later be removed, that is not a permanent fix. Like, it's not permanently put down, so.
And as far as the covered arenas are, there are several in our county. There's one out toward Pardee, there's one at Halfway House, there's covered arenas all over.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
thank you,
think
Dolores.
people are tending to utilize the covered arenas more than horse tracks. I don't know the last time a horse race has been at Howard Park.
Not because we didn't want it.
Right,
And I truly appreciate the history. I'd love to see, you know, a historical landmark type plaque go in to honor that, but at the same time meet the needs of the community where we are.
yeah, it's just, there's that balance of the two.
The horse track is the oldest 1-mile circular horse race track west of the Mississippi.
Yeah.
That's the historical value of it. Approximately 5 years ago, a group of us had the California Horse Racing Association interested in rehabilitating the track and the red barn, but city staff at that time poo-pooed the idea. So it's gone downhill from there.
Yeah,
But the track is near and dear to those of us on this side of town that grew up when the track was used during homecoming, and there was the historical value to it. Going so far as to say, people use the story that Seabiscuit may have worked out there since Charles Howard owned the property.
yeah,
There was never any factual basis for that, but that was always a cute story to tell
yeah.
people visiting Ione, so.
So you said 5 years ago, can that be resurrected again? I mean, can the Horse Racing Association, does someone volunteer to go out and do that again? And see if they're still interested?
I had a friend who was a jockey that was on the board at that time. After my ordeals, I don't know if he is or not, but
Sure.
there was a lot of interest and effort ready to be put into that. And as I said, the staff cut it off.
Well, we have a whole new staff now, so.
Yeah.
But even, so that's kind of why we were discussing something that was temporary. It's not anything that's gonna be a permanent fixture to the racetrack, because if you do have an association that came in and said, hey, let's put the track back to where it was,
Well, the thing is, he's right, and I think it's terrible that the manager out of town, never been here, made that decision, and I think that's wrong. The other thing is, what happened to the water truck? How come it quit running out there when you guys have your soccer? There was a guy that volunteered to do that every time, all of a sudden it got cut off.
yeah,
What happened to that?
I don't know, I saw the water truck out there, I don't know why it's not being used. There was some kind of licensing
Yeah, he was
issue.
coming in at 6 in the morning or something, water, and all of a sudden it comes to a stop. How come that happened? I
Yeah.
mean, that's inside, you don't even have to have a Class A license to run that when
Yeah,
you're in the city property.
yeah, I honestly, Larry, I don't.
It's not a
I'm
Class
not
A,
really
it's a
sure.
Class B anyway, and there's just no reason that can't be done. I mean, somebody can volunteer.
Is that
And
the
the
truck?
city's got insurance to cover that kind of thing.
Is that the truck that's over at the arena? Is that the one? Is that the
Yeah.
arena?
Yeah. the
Yeah,
water
he
truck that
come
sits
in
out
at 6 in the
there.
morning, he done it for years.
It's,
Also got chopped off. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think it is the city's water truck, is it not?
Yes.
Say again?
It's the
It is
city's
the
water
city's
truck.
water truck?
Yeah.
It is, and you have to have a Class B license to drive it anywhere.
That is not true. Off property, you don't, off,
No, I'm
You have to have a Class B license to drive a water truck.
no, you don't.
No, you
I'm a
don't.
trainer. No, you don't.
That's absolutely wrong.
Incorrect. Off-road, you do not.
Well, maybe that's something we ought to get in the Department of Motor Vehicles and see the regulation. Can we get the regulation from Department of Motor Vehicles?
Yeah, I could
grab a
tell you, I got a Class A license.
Well known.
I know about
Let's
that
talk
stuff.
about that, Stacy, because we need to also agree what off-road means. Because it's city property, and we are liable for any accident if anybody just jumps into the water truck and they have an accident on city property, which the whole park is, we need to be very sure that doesn't create a problem for the city.
You created that problem. You brought that.
This is public
Nobody else
comments, this
did.
is not attack the city manager. This is a public comment period. You can have your public comments, that's fine.
I can talk what I want. I can get up there and
No,
say
you
what
can
I
have your
want.
public comments, you can't have a
Yes,
debate.
I can.
No, you
You're
cannot.
wrong.
So we're gonna move on from track maintenance at this point. At the, where the track is now, I think it's more than just the cars driving on it. There are portions that are just not even rounded anymore, so things need to be looked at to try to keep that where it is, so.
I think we need to not forget about this now that soccer is over.
Yeah, I don't think it's not just soccer though. The park is utilized all year. And
Yeah, but not to the extent that there's, 200 cars out there at a time.
yeah, it's even more than that. I would say.
Baseball is
Yeah,
coming up in a couple months, it'll be just as bad, just a different area of the park.
and not necessarily on the track, but the desk and all the other stuff is
Right.
still. We still have those. The issue is the park is utilized by a ton of different places, a ton of different people, and it's a high volume. And we just have never had the correct parking areas built or maintained, and
Right.
it's just become, you drive in there and then you park where you want, and so some of that, when we do the master plan, should be better regulated. It should be, this is where you park, this is where you drive.
Right.
Your pure ingress egress that we've been talking about for 10 years. It's,
Can
yeah,
can you charge to
that's
park?
been brought up before.
Well, how much time, it's only 7:20. I mean, if you want to get into a couple-hour discussion
I
about
know.
parking, I'd love to talk about that. Most cities charge for parking.
Well, let's
We don't
put that-
even
let's
charge
put that on a-
downtown.
Let's do that on agenda, let's put that as an agenda item
No,
for
I'm
next- for
just.
next meeting.
like,
No, I'm,
You could, but it would be difficult.
It seems like the road base is a good solution that fits all needs for now, especially because it's temporary and it's free.
yeah, it's over there by the.
And even one water truck, the park is so big
Yeah.
that one water truck is not ever going to combat the amount of traffic and dust and how many
Well, and
roads
I'm not
people
just
are
worried
traveling.
about the dust. I mean, the track itself, if you want to keep the shape and the size of it,
Mhm.
you want to keep the integrity of it. I don't know how to work a track where you put the wood back under and, the dirt and pack it down. So there's just some way to keep the maintenance of the track the way it is today is also in general.
Too bad we don't have like a Lucky Baldwin in the town that would know all that information.
Lou Yeager knows it. He used to
Yeah.
maintain it.
He's what?
Lou Yeager used to maintain it too.
Yes, Louis and.
Is he still alive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's
Poor
younger than
Lou.
you and I,
Is he?
Dan.
Yeah, he's actually helping us with the donating.
Well, I don't do his taxes, so I wouldn't know him, so I,
Oh, darn.
Yeah.
He doesn't do his taxes.
He doesn't pay taxes.
he doesn't.
So,
He's
is
like
there
those big
any,
corporations, yeah.
any more public comment on track maintenance? Zoom, Stace?
Yep.
Let's move on from that and go to future agenda. So do we need to make any choices on that today? We know that we have the ability to get free road base.
No, we don't need to make any choices.
Okay.
He already made them.
So here we are, future agenda items.
Or, I think Fern had a commissioner report she wanted.
Yes, so, Iron
Oh,
Eyes in
sorry.
the Park, directly behind us.
Yeah.
It has a beautiful new bench. I'm sorry, I don't remember the plaque, name on it, but it's nice, it's permanent. I'm wondering why that didn't ever come through this commission.
I think it did.
No.
What's
What
the name
park?
on it? Because we did have one.
What park is that from?
No,
Here.
they asked
Out the back door.
us to put,
This?
yeah, it's up on the hill, under the tree,
Oh.
kind of
Is it,
near the
Never heard of that.
duplexes there. It's nice and it's permanent and We would have approved it.
Is
So
it Valerie?
It's just frustrating. No, it's not. No,
Oh, okay.
Valerie Crest, they just requested a plaque and they put it on an existing bench at Perry Earl.
Okay.
So this is a brand new bench, cemented in the ground.
Who put that bench in the ground?
That's my question.
When was it done?
And maybe a month ago?
Really?
Yes, yes, I frequent that park.
Well, we don't
And it
own,
was
we
there
don't
when
own the
not there
property.
when was in there.
What's the name of the vet, no, what is it
Native
called?
Sons.
Native Sons.
Yeah.
It's their park,
Yeah, it's not our park.
it's not our park. So they.
So
may have
actually,
done that.
I think we own the train part, but then.
We own part of it and they
Yeah,
own
and
part
they
of
own
it.
part of it,
Yeah.
because I remember,
That's news to me, so then-
They may have
so
done
then
that
it's none of our
on their
business.
own.
like,
They're
where
having a
their
meeting right
grill
now, go
and
yell
all
at
that
them.
stuff is theirs.
What's that?
They're
It must have
meeting
been
right now,
them.
go yell at them.
They must have
Oh,
done
okay, I
that.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
It's
it's,
nice.
it's a really
Okay.
weird, well, it's a long story.
Do we know where the property line is over there, or?
Some people do.
So this
Probably
is
right at
the,
the train.
yeah, this is the corner, it's up on the hill.
Yeah, that's
near
the Native
creek.
Sons
That's
side.
Native
Okay.
Sons
That's
on
on
the
their
right.
property.
Yeah, on the right side is
Yeah.
Native
Good for
Sons.
them, it was a good
What does it
addition.
say?
She doesn't remember,
I
it's
just-
in memory of, and, yeah.
It just boggled me that
That was my second
a
grade
permanent
playground.
project occurred without us knowing, but now I know why.
Because it ain't your park.
That's good for them.
So that's why, it's their
Okay,
park.
got it. Part of it.
Part of it.
Okay.
So then you wanted budget, and there was something else we were gonna discuss. that
For
you said-
future?
Yeah.
Future agenda items, we'll talk about the park development impact fee budget, what's available, what should those capital projects be in the future as they're related to the master plan for Howard Park, the basketball
Yeah.
project in Perry A. Earl Park. We want to bring, what else are we gonna bring back to the commission?
I'd like to talk about,
Okay.
I don't, the ceiling tiles in Evelyn Bishop,
Yes, what about them?
the repair, replacement of it.
That's happening, it's budgeted, it's happening.
And did you talk to, some of the nonprofits that wanted to contribute to that, not spend city money?
Let's talk about that offline. Again, I have to be really careful about how that is done.
Well, and it's the FEMA building as well, that's our like. state.
That's right.
There's a lot of,
FEMA funding, federal funding would be at risk, and we can't contract split things, so it
Okay, so it's
depends.
a FEMA project.
It's a
Okay.
FEMA certified building for Red Cross and for any emergency. But beyond that, we can't contract split unless, and we can talk about that offline, but there are ways to separate projects. You can't say you're splitting them, you can separate and have distinctly different projects, which it allows volunteers and nonprofits to then contribute.
I'm just thinking if there's some sort of matching fund grant, I don't know, I didn't know how the funding came about.
Well, it's actually ARPA money that we're going to use for that, so it's not technically city money. It's the $1 trillion of ARPA money that cities, counties, and states got just last year.
Trillion, yeah.
Over $1 trillion, and we got $2 million, and that's what's funding the upgrades to Evelyn Bishop Hall, which includes painting the building and repairing the tiles.
I'll also like to put on the agenda, the propane tank at the park.
I love the little smile at the end there. That's being handled right now with the fire chief.
Okay, so I'll
It's
go talk to
being
him.
taken care of.
yeah, it's not really a parks issue now, it's a
It's
safety.
being taken
It's
care
gotta be
of.
remo- Yeah. At that point. So I
We
think
did that
budget,
from the beginning.
so our first meeting next time won't be until January, because our December meeting is on Christmas.
I'll be here.
You are? I'm not gonna be here. You go ahead, I got Christmas Eve. So,
It's on
Okay.
Christmas Eve.
I think the Thursday, I could do
Day after
3
Christmas.
days after?
3 days after.
Oh.
Christmas, according to this, is on a Saturday.
So okay, so we'd be Tuesday, we're Tuesday.
So Black Friday, you'd be fine there.
21st would be the Tuesday, right? What days do you do it? Wednesday.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So it'd be the fourth Tuesday.
Okay, the fourth Tuesday would be the 21st. It'd be the week of Christmas, but it'd be
Okay.
3-4 days before.
Well, we can discuss it and see who could meet, but in general, we do a meeting in February.
No,
Cancel.
last week of the year, no, nobody's gonna be here.
Yeah.
There won't be anybody working in City Hall.
Every year that I've been on parks, which has been 7 or 8, it's never happened, so.
So that would put us
The
at,
assumption is it'll be off.
So do we have to make a move that we,
was it January 26th? Would that be your next meeting date?
20,
Is it the 4th?
25th?
The fourth week,
The 4th week?
fourth Tuesday,
Oh, no, Wednesday, right?
Tuesday.
Oh, it's normally, I'm sorry.
It's normally on Tuesday. When's the city council meeting that week?
That would be 1, 2, 3, 4, the 25th of January.
Right.
But the city council is meeting on the, not the 4th, the 18th. No, that's fine, it's the opposite.
Okay.
Yeah, it's always the opposite.
Yeah.
Could we meet a week earlier in December? I'm worried about losing momentum on some of these things.
Well, the
because I've
problem is
seen
that
that happen.
city council's in here, and then you have planning commission on the opposite, so every
You got another
Tuesdays are
meeting.
taken. That's why we meet when we do, because
It's extremely busy city. Yeah.
well,
And I have to go to all those meetings. I mean, I'd love to do it, I just
Just
can't
think
be
of the
in.
overtime.
Yeah, there's no such thing as
well, and
overtime.
during the holidays, nobody's doing anything. You're not gonna get the engineer out here, or any of that done. But I would discuss like some of the other things, like putting the engineer that you're talking about in touch with,
Right.
right, like some of that
Yeah,
stuff,
it's
so.
just because we had 2 months in a row canceled prior to this. So
No,
with all
January-
this meeting, like, things aren't getting done.
January 25th?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm in the process of hiring a administrative analyst and an administrative assistant and a building, we're really short-staffed. I am attending every single meeting. Planning Commission, Parks and Rec, the City Council, and the Special Districts is a brand-new committee we formed. There's the Creek Committee, I have to go to every single committee meeting because I don't have any staff to help me do that. So I would love to meet in early December with this group, but I don't want to be unprepared and not have actionable, items for you. But I am hiring staff, and I will make sure that we spread the wealth around to staff members to attend every single one of our special commissions and committees. There should never be this sort of meeting without a staff person here.
yeah.
Good luck finding employees. I mean, it's like a.
It's tough.
It's a
It's
blade.
tough.
Yeah, I know.
It's gone.
So I understand what you're saying, I do. But I also want to make it a relevant meeting for you.
When's your town hall planned meeting?
It will be the council will decide that on December 7th. It'll probably be January 10th or,
See, and I would like ours to be after that, because if we're gonna do a master plan and we're gonna do the town
Right.
hall and he's gonna combine all that,
it'll either be the 10th or the, I gave the council 4 dates to choose from. We'll know for sure on the 7th of December.
and in the meantime, maybe in the sewer letter, anyone, or I don't know how you wanna choose a committee to do that update on the master plan. But maybe we'll touch base on that as an agenda item too, like a committee for
Absolutely, yeah, okay.
the Howard, update on Howard Park. Like some of that, I know when we picked committees for things, we have put it in the sewer bill. You get 5 or 10 people, you don't get a ton, but at least it opens it up to other people that have expertise in areas, and that's why they contact you to be on it.
I'll be happy to put it
Yeah.
in the sewer, it's the city newsletter.
Yeah, the one that we put out,
Yeah.
like I know when we look for new parks commissioners, or when we did some other committee that's how we found, and they're, people you may not know to ask to be on the committee, so
Sure.
sometimes it's nice
Yeah.
to throw it out there.
Yeah, absolutely, and just let me know, and we can time it so it gets into the next, newsletter.
All the new people get those sewer bills too, so,
New and older people, like everybody
Yeah,
gets it.
I know.
That's what I like about the sewer bill, everybody gets it. Okay, so anybody move
I
to,
move to adjourn.
I second, all in favor?
Aye.
I